Hey, everybody, welcome. It's another episode of the Show Me Reptile Show podcast. This week, we've got Micky, we've got Scott, and we got our boy Steve over here from a Reptile I Am. The title of this week's podcast is Don't Be a Dick. And honestly, we just want to talk about some of the negativity and the things that we see in this industry that just have to get better to build this community up. But first, I want to welcome Steve to the podcast. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, dude, I appreciate it. And for everybody out there, man, what is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Steve, from a Reptile I Am. Thanks for being here, guys. That's what's up.
What's up, Steve?
What's going on, Micky?
Welcome,
what's
man.
going on,
We
Scott?
appreciate the energy.
What's up, buddy?
It's all
Steve,
I got,
why don't you
man.
just give everybody a little couple-minute intro. Tell them a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you love this industry and hobby.
Right on. A lot of people may have seen me around. I'm sure they've seen some of the content or whatever. I'm the little ugly leprechaun that's running around at the shows and stuff. So if you see that screaming green, then you know that Steve is near. We've been doing this now for with the breeding side of things about 5 years. We've been keeping on a more than 10, 20 animal basis for about 6 or 7 years. I really got into this, what I believe is my nervous breakdown. I don't know that I've ever told anybody that. And my stuff came in early, dude. I was like 36 and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm getting close to that age where somebody's going to try to finger me. And that messed with my psyche, and one thing led to another. And I went into an exotic pet store, not a name brand store or anything like that, just an exotic pet store, a really great place. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. But anyways, I went in there, and just because I wanted something to do. I just wanted something to do. I had no idea I was leaving with anything. And I come up on a tank, and they had 4 ball pythons in there. And people can laugh or say what they will, but I absolutely thought the prettiest one in there was a pinstripe. And I didn't know what was what. It was just scribbled on the front, so I didn't know which one was this or that. I didn't know nothing. But I'd only ever seen the classic ball python anywhere. So it was just like blowing me away. What the hell is this? And it's because I wasn't really a part of the reptile community. I didn't even know that there was a reptile community.
Oh, yeah.
And I made the decision that if it wasn't the most expensive one in the tank, it was coming home. And it wasn't the most expensive one in there. I can't remember what was, but I gave like $120, $130 at a pet store, which I felt like that price wasn't bad when you think 6, 7 years ago, and brought it home. And a lot of people don't know this because I'm around a lot of animals, but I'm allergic to almost anything with fur, and we have cats and dogs because I'm an animal lover, and it's not my fault that my skin is weak. So it just has to figure it out. And I could do whatever I wanted with the snake, guys. It's hypoallergenic. So it quickly became one of my favorite animals. Then out of left field, I'm going out to my grandparents' house in Blue Springs, and lo and behold, there's a sign. There's a damn sign. And it says, Show Me Reptile Show. And it was like a week and a half away or whatever. And I'm like, a reptile show? I didn't even know that was a thing. And at this point, you know, I'd had my snake for a few months, so I knew everything. And I went into the show, and my head just exploded. I mean, you can go to a zoo, and a zoo is a lot of fun. But when you've been to 3 or 4 of them, you start seeing similar animals. And when I walked through the door of the Show Me show, I'd never seen the things that I was seeing before. Now, like I said, I was fresh, but that was the inspiration and the drive for me to do something. And I bought my second snake at that show. And I've been going to the Show Me shows ever since, and there won't be a time that I don't go to a Show Me show. That's how it started, and that's how it went down.
And here we are today.
Obviously, we love you, man.
And here we are today.
We love you at the shows.
Here we are today, and I'm going to back up, and I'm going to fall on the sword, and I'm going to say, I was trying to get Micky to like me so much when I was brand new, so much, and he would not budge. He was so busy that he wasn't able to get out to the Blue Springs shows as often because he had just started kind of traveling around and getting things set up elsewhere. So I never was able to get that one-on-one. And then I think maybe the second or third time I saw Micky, he almost booped my snoot. You remember that at the little US Ark auction that we threw at the show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good time. That was fun.
It pops up about once in a month at my house just because my kids think it's hilarious that went down with me on stage. And they're right. That was golden, dude.
Oh, yeah. It's always a good time.
But anyways, there it is. Now, don't be a dick. What are we doing?
Yeah, it was just one of those weeks, I think, where we all saw it in multiple angles of like negative comments from people about shows, of negative comments about other breeders, jumping on top of brand new reptile keepers without giving them a fair chance to actually learn what they're doing. And it's just, Micky is huge about building a sense of community and that the reptile world can be positive and help each other grow and not tear each other down.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that kills me. Like, you see new keepers in Facebook groups or even out of the show, and they're asking questions they don't know, and like people are just being dicks. And it's like, why you gotta be a dick, man? Like, we all started somewhere. Like, damn, I've been keeping reptiles for a long time, all kinds of them, and I don't know anything about nothing. It just cracks me up to watch sometimes.
I think for a lot of folks, it's just like, I think they're just burnt out on the hobby itself, and they're taking out everybody else. They're like, well, I've answered these questions 1,000 times before. It's like, yeah, because there's new people all the time. That's part of being in the industry, in the hobby. And you can't just shut down new people because you've already answered it for 1,000 other people. That's not how it works. Like, if you want to be, a breeder and someone who produces these animals and works with them, you're an expert. That's kind of like your job. You're giving back to the community. Like, guarantee someone helped you along the way. So why the hell are you going to be a dick to somebody coming in? Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
My
Go
thing
ahead,
about that is, so that's how I got into the reptiles. And then I was on Facebook going around, and most of the groups that I was seeing, dude, it was horrible. It was horrible.
It's brutal.
It's horrible. I'm proud of what I have, and I only have 5 or 6 snakes, and I'm showing them, and I'm proud of them. And to me, and I still hold this to this day, if somebody is proud of something that they're posting, you need to be a good human being and allow them to have their moment. Have you tried to do something nice for just one person today? Don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes this much energy.
It's absolutely.
And
yeah,
it was just so negative, and that's why I opened the Facebook group so that I had control over the garbage. Well, I thought that I would, and every day people end up getting dumped and dumped because there's spam and scams everywhere. And
sometimes it's the comment section.
ARIA was founded off of, I was trying to build community. I knew there was a bunch of new keepers and they were good people, and we didn't know a whole lot, but maybe we could throw what we knew together and figure it out. And it just grew from there. But Scott, you said something that makes me smile. So you said, if you've answered the same question 1,000 times, that should mean that you're really damn good at it. So, like you said, that would put you in what they would consider an expert or whatever. And that's one thing you will never see on me. I will not put expert next to my name. It's not on any of my social media. I am forever training. That's what keeps my passion. If I think that I've made it, then I might move on to the next thing or what. And I don't want to do that. I like where I am. I'm staying in my lane, and I learn something every single day. But just don't be a dick.
Yeah,
Well-
and you're Scott's 100% right. It's like you have to resist the urge, even when you do get worn out from those same questions. You know, it's going to happen at every show, but you can watch and you'll see vendors sit there, and somebody comes up and is like, "Can it bite you?" And they're, you can just see they're like, "Yeah, it's got a mouth, doesn't it?" Like, well, you know, again, don't be a dick. Yes, I know that question's going to come up 17 times at every show, but each person is asking it for the first time.
You know, and let's break it down in different form. And let's say the honesty is, let's say you really don't give a shit. Okay? But if not for your own vain reasons, for you're behind your table and you're the face of your company, if you won't even do it for that reason, that explains your negativity in the forums right there, partner. Because you are failing yourself, you're failing the community, and you're the first one to make your own company assassinated by what you're doing and saying. That stuff catches like wildfire.
And they're going to be the same ones.
Positive
They're going to be the
energy
same
is
ones
contagious,
after the show.
and negative is too.
Yep, and they'll be the first ones after the show complaining that there were no buyers at this show. Like, well, you sat behind the table bitching at people every time they asked a question. Of course there were no buyers, at least not at your table.
No, nobody, and you know what, Micky and Scott, I guess I don't know, but I think Micky probably has the most experience keeping with knowledge and length of time of any of us on here right now. But he's doing everything he can to bring community together. So there's no reason for anybody to say anything different. And for those that aren't able to go to some of these big shows, Micky and Show Me Reptiles is an enormous supporter of USARK. Okay? Enormous. So that is all about community. He's not just doing that for his own self and own well-being. Does he benefit from it as well? Yes. And I believe you said 4.3% of the population owns reptiles, Micky?
Yeah.
Roughly? Okay. Well, all of those people benefit too.
Everything in this runs circular with each other, you know, like I talk to other company owners, you know, bigger company owners, you know, everything runs in a big circle here, you know, like you've got this reptile show over here, and you got this reptile show over here, and you got this reptile show over here. Guess what? Those all run together. Like there's no reason to be a dick, you know, like there's multiple sales platforms out there right now. You know, we just launched Marketplace. I hope everybody does well. You know, there's so much room for growth. There's no reason to even go out there and like talk about anybody else or you know, try to lay harm or hurt to anybody. Like, there's just no reason for it. It's so stupid. Like, try to grow the pie, man. Don't be a dick.
And I think one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts, and we see it because, you know, I handle a lot of the social media side for Show Me, and when you see a show get posted and Micky's boosted it, he's spending thousands of dollars a lot of times for every show to promote the ads to be out there, and then you see somebody go and comment underneath it and say, "I went to this last year in September and there was nobody there. It's not worth it." Well, it was like it could be our first time trying to do a show in a city, and they sometimes they start small and they build up to something incredible. But here's this person who went one time last year, 8 months ago, and it wasn't everything they dreamed it would be. So they go on there and they want to take a crap on it and like, how is that going to help it grow? What is that going to do to promote that show and make it any better? How about ask the questions and do what you can to bring more people in the next time?
And you know, I said this, and I don't know, it's been 2 or 3 months ago, but somebody was complaining about one of the shows, and I just asked them outright. I said, "What did you do to help promote the show? Did you run it through any of your social media outlets? Did you have any of your friends or family or anything come up to just say hi to you and that brought them through the door or whatever?" Because it doesn't all fall on Micky. He can only do so much. He's one person. Yes, there's a team. But when it boils down to it, Micky's the one that has to make sure that there's enough money for the team to work and puts the stuff out and you know, puts in the time and energy to try to get this stuff done. What are you doing? And this is even if you're just going to the show. If you're excited to go to a show, why wouldn't you tell people? You know, Micky, you said 4.3%, and then you said, I'd love to see it at 10. Well, that's a big number when you think of, or you were saying just in the United States, weren't you?
Yeah, just the United States.
Okay. So then that is a lot more doable. I thought you were saying globally. That's very doable if everybody stepped up and did their part and started promoting this stuff. It would bring new people into it. And if that number just changed the dial, there wouldn't be enough reptiles at the shows that everybody wouldn't do good. But just because you sign up for the show, you're not guaranteed to do good. That just means that you now have a new stage to stand on, but you must perform. Nobody said this was easy. And that's what I was getting at with how long you've been around this, Micky. None of this is easy. Not if you really want to make it work. How many hours a week do you think you work, Micky?
How many hours a week is he awake? Because that's pretty much the
when I'm awake, I'm working.
So, like I said, one man with a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, also creating momentum for the community, and multi-platforming. You know, you mentioned Marketplace, man. It's only 4.3%. Maybe Marketplace looks to target bringing in new people.
That's exactly what it's there for, you know?
You know, so that sort of stuff changes the dial and it changes the narrative. But everybody is upset when our economy is not doing good. So when finances are down, Mr. Grumpy Pants shows up. So, and we're not doing good over here right now either. It's just the
none of us are. But, everybody's hurting.
But I'm still happy to be here, and I'm animal rich. I'm money poor. I'm animal rich. That's what I told Jenny the other day.
I think that's all of us. You know, we should probably put a disclaimer out there too. It's like, it's not the whole industry. It's not everybody. We have a ton of amazing vendors who do exactly what we're saying, who are out there posting every week, putting us in their stories, inviting people out to the shows. Then we see them at the shows. At the shows, letting people handle an animal, meet the snake for their first time, answering those questions 1,000 times with a smile on their face, and excited about doing it. I mean, we do see that every week. So it's not like we're saying the whole industry is crappy. We have a ton of amazing vendors. We're just saying that if the community worked together as a whole and brought the positivity level up, maybe that 4.3% does get to 10% in a few years.
Well, you know, so it goes way farther than just the shows. You know, we were talking about new keepers. You know, I've got a couple stores. I got a couple reptile stores, and sometimes I have to remind myself because people like to come in and they like to hold the animals, and you know that sometimes that really kind of frustrates me because I'm already dealing with a lot of stuff that day, and I have to remind myself, you know, because this is more exciting for them than it is for me. Like I eat, breathe, and sleep this shit every day. So like, whenever I put a reptile in a little kid's hand and their eyes just blow up and they're smiling and they're happy, I have to remember that this is more exciting for them than it is for me, and that's how we grow this, by spreading that, spider webbing that, and that's part of the reason why I like the don't be a dick topic on this, because how's that new reptile keeper feel whenever they get a ball python or a chameleon, and they go to the chameleon group on Facebook and they get in there and they make a post in front of 34,000 people, and somebody and 3 or 4 guys just rip them to shreds. What do you think that guy's gonna do? He's putting this fucking chameleon up on Facebook Marketplace, says, fuck this, I'm done, I'm out of here. And that guy's gone.
And it's not even that, too. It's the people that are doing the research before they get the animal. They're going on Facebook groups, or they're going on, forums online or YouTube comment sections or whatever. They're doing that research before they get the animal. And if they're seeing all this just bullshit and people just shitting on each other about how they're keeping, oh, you put reptile carpet in there? You're a monster. You're an animal abuser. You should go to jail. I hope your kids die. Like, that's the shit you see in these comment sections nowadays. It's like, who's going to want to be around that? Like, no one.
I'll tell you this. Yep. I have been escorted out of Petco and PetSmart watching them fill somebody's basket with garbage, and the little salesman always has to scurry off to go get another $70 item, and I'm like, I know you don't know who I am, and that doesn't matter. Please don't do what you're doing, and I'm going to step outside and let's talk. Because I can tell you seriously love this animal, because you got $600 worth of stuff in this cart. And I'm here to tell you, you only need 200. That tank is for a tortoise, first of all. Like all sorts of wackadoo shit. And I have been escorted out because the salesman's like, hey, dude. And I'm like, no, man. Hey, dude. What are you talking about, kid? Oh, I run this department. I don't give a shit. This is what I do. You're hurt, whatever. But, I have a serious don't be a dick story. So, Micky, when we come to the shows, I bring the whole team ARIA with me, all 3 of the kids, the wife, and we don't always stay together because people pull me to the side and I'm talking, and Jenny just flat ain't going to stand there for an hour. Sometimes I get held up. Mm-hmm. And my kids are circulating around, and my son is handicapped. He's autistic. And we hadn't been to very many shows, and he was so excited. And I know this is annoying for anybody that's watching, but I want to share this story because it makes a difference. He was so excited to go around and get people's business card. And he approached the table, and Jenny was standing behind him, but people didn't know my family yet. They knew my face, and I was on the other side of the show, and they snapped at my son to put that card back. And it ruined his day. He went out in the hallway and he was crying and he couldn't get himself pulled back in. And I thought, shame on you for treating a little 7-year-old boy that way. And my son he doesn't have an appearance that he's any different than anyone else. So it doesn't always show, guys, and just don't be a dick. Because I went back to that table and I was like, this table, Jenny? Right to the seller, like, oh, hey, Steve. And I'm like, dude, don't hey, Steve me. Do you know who this is? I grabbed the whole stack of cards and stickers and I was like, thanks, bro. Now nobody gets them. Punk.
That's what they get.
And then I went right over and I threw them in the trash. And then we had to leave because my son wouldn't calm down. And he didn't even want to come back to another show. And I'm going to name drop somebody here for a very positive reason. And I only wish these people the best, and I don't get to see them very often. But the very next show he was going around, he approached Freak Show Exotics, Ryan and Tina, And when he approached that, and he was real leery to go up to the tables at this show because of what had transpired a month and a half before at the last show. So it was burned in his head. And we didn't really know each other all that well at the time. And they were so nice and so kind to him. And he didn't even ask, and they pulled, hey, do you want to see this snake? And just got it out. And that touched me, and it changed the narrative in the dial. And I wanted to be a part of what I was seeing. But guys, I don't see enough of that out there. I really don't. And if you have one reptile or you have 1,000, you're a reptile keeper, and you should support reptile keepers.
Yeah, when I vend, I always make a point, like, to bring one of each animal with me that it's not for sale, but I specifically brought it because it has good demeanor and it's there to be an ambassador. And I think that's just huge. I mean, if you can get this stuff in people's hands, like you said, with your kid, to go in there and have somebody pull an animal out, let them hold it and experience it, it changes their lives. I was thinking of, like, when I was a kid, we used to go, my parents were at the bowling alley 3 nights a week, and like 2 blocks down from there was a pet store, and they had fish and they had reptiles and they had a giant, like, either a Burmese or a retic, something in there that was huge. And we would go down there all 3 nights when we were at the bowling alley. We would sneak out and go down there to look at these things. And I can't imagine how much the employees at this place were like, oh, these little pains in the ass, they're down here again. Where are their parents? But that experience, being allowed to go in there 2-3 days a week as a kid, like, that's part of the reason I have 200 freaking animals right now. Because I was able to go in there and look at something different every week, and nobody chased me out or told me to, to get out of here and come back with my parents if I'm not buying anything. They let me explore and they let us be in there. And that's what we need more of in the community.
Well, that's what it's all about.
When I worked at a pet store back in the day, back out of, like, in high school, fresh out of high school, I worked at a Petco. And when a kid came in and wanted to hold a snake for the first time, I was running from the back of the store to go help that kid out. Like, that was what I worked there for, was to have those new experiences, to educate people on these animals. Even if the mom was freaking out, pulling her hair out, like, I don't want my son taking home a snake. I wanted to help her conquer that fear and let her know, like, this is an animal that's going to terrorize you or your kid. It's a very good pet that he can take home. He can have his pet for 20 years, and they're gonna be best friends. Like, it's not something to panic about. And just bringing it all together was what I worked there for.
There's a common misconception about snakes. How many people that I talk to, and they're like, oh, they're so slimy and cold. And I'm like, damn, is it dead?
Yeah, only if you're not keeping them clean.
That ain't normal. Oh, no, I've seen them. Okay, have you felt them? And I always have to ask somebody, because the snake itself has been villainized. So I always ask people when they're like, oh, I don't like snakes. Why? I say, why? What did a snake do to you? And it's because I'm interested, and it's one of 2 things. Oh, it hasn't really done anything, but I see what it can do. Okay. Or, oh, my brother used to get snakes out of the yard and he would throw them at me or whatever. So somebody else caused this, and that's where the misconception comes from. And you're really closing yourself off to what the world has to offer. Past just snakes, there's so many reptiles. So many. And a lot of people would think that I've seen everything. I haven't had a chance to make it out to Micky's yet. I guarantee if I come over to Micky's, he's going to be like, Steve, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? That's just a blah, blah, blah. I haven't seen everything. I still haven't seen everything yet. The snakes that I'm used to seeing are native. Because I've been herping before I knew what it was called in the creeks. I just grew up that way. I'm a Missouri boy, so that's what we did. We went fishing and went to the creek, and that's just what we did.
Like, look at Copperhead.
It's always a
Dude,
copperhead.
It's gonna chase me.
I brought home a rattlesnake, and nobody was home, and I was super stoked. And I put it in this container on the kitchen table and put a great big. I put it in a 10-gallon. I was gonna let it go anyways, and I put a piece of plywood over it and like a 45-pound weight. It was little, dude. It was a little. Is it? I don't know if they call it Masaga or Masagwe, but it's
Masasagwa.
whatever. Huh?
Masasagwa.
Masasagwa. Okay. I was down in Kansas, and it was tiny. I didn't know that that's what it even was, or I probably wouldn't have brought it home. It was just so insanely cool. I was like 16 and a half. People are always like, dude, you didn't freehand that thing. And I was like, I did. I didn't know what it was. And it was September, so it had started cooling off, and it was sitting in the middle of the road, and I was on a four-wheeler, and I stopped and went up, and it let me just barely put my foot over it, and I just reached down and grabbed it. It was not intense. It was not an insane moment, but I had it on the kitchen table, and my dad came home. I lived downstairs at the time, and I heard his cowboy boots as he came in and made the walk into the kitchen to put his keys down. And I thought he was going to make me move out, dude. He freaked out. He's like, what the fuck? That's a rattlesnake. And I'm like, do you think it is? And I'm all looking at it, and he's like, there's a button or something on the end of the tail. And there was a little something, but it didn't look right. So I didn't know. There's a useless story. I don't know why I said it. Don't be a dick. Just accept it. It happened.
Hey, it's your origin story. Okay.
You learn something. You learn something about snakes. You educate yourself. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I was 16. I wouldn't do that today, even if I got my foot over the top. You've got me twisted. I would never do that. I would not be doing that today. I do not have that same demeanor. I like life. I like being here.
Most days.
Yeah, I don't play with hots much myself because not my thing.
I don't either. And it's only because I'm not versed in it. So I'm smart enough to know that I'm not smart enough. And I already have a lot of really wicked, cool stuff that's not venomous. So I need to enjoy that. And I don't want to roll the dice that at some point my son decides it's super cool and he wants to show dad something and tries to pull it open. Because something scary happened about 2 weeks ago. I'm still in the creek. It's where I go. If I'm missing, I'm in the middle of nowhere with my shoes off, dude. And my son wanted to go with me, and I was down. Dude, I'm dorking out. I'm trying to find arrowheads because I found one arrowhead like last year, and now I've moved 15 tons of rock. And nothing even close. It's getting to me. So I got my back turned and I'm over there gold mining in the damn creek with this makeshift rocker board I found on YouTube. And he goes, Dad, a snake. And I turn around and he'd been flipping rocks. And as soon as I turned and looked, he went like this and reached down on the snake because he watches Daddy's YouTube videos and he wanted to be like Dad. And that we don't have a lot of venomous, but a lot of it is really close to water. And I said, no. And he pulled back and I jumped over and saw, and it was just a little northern, but that scared the shit out of me, Micky.
Oh, I bet. Sometimes field finds always scare the shit out of you because they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
not
clouds
like
surprised my house either.
I flipped a cottonmouth yesterday, dude. That was surprising to both of us.
Yeah. He was probably like,
you're really big to be under this rock. It was scarier than that, Micky.
oh, I'm talking about the snake. The snake was probably like, ah.
No, I know. No, but he did that and I was like, yeah, okay. I got nothing to prove, man. Thanks for letting me see you. I'm out. And it kills me because it was the one time I'm down at the creek and I don't have any of my camera gear because honestly, it's starting to take a wear and tear on me and I'm not enjoying it quite the same. So I'm trying to back off of always chasing content because unfortunately it's starting to feel a lot like work. And I don't want to burn myself out on what has always given me oxygen.
Yeah, sometimes you got to enjoy life through your own eyes, not the lens.
True. And that's it, guys.
So off the don't be a dick subject, but onto something actually cool and positive. We have talked about Marketplace launching for a long time, and there's just a lot that went into getting that site up and running. There's just so much behind the scenes to try to make sure it's going to function correct. But as of last weekend, we kind of had a little soft rollout. We haven't started pumping it and promoting it everywhere yet. And we probably will in the next week or so. Right now, we've got it open for vendors. Vendors can start building out their shows. We're starting to see a lot of animals in every category showing up on there. So it's really exciting times. It's a big step forward and an avenue because we get it after every show. There's always like 5 or 10 people that message us and say, hey, I saw this vendor at your show.
Who was this?
What was their name? I can't find him. It was a guy with the big beard and long hair. He was kind of crazy. Where do I find this guy? So the fact that we're going to be able to help those attendees and vendors connect with one another year round, even between shows, I think those tools are going to build on each other. So I don't know, Micky, if you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that set it apart from some other options out there, or things that we think are going to make it, one of the best options out there, platforms for people.
Well, the first thing is, it is paired up with the shows. We are, making buyers and sellers both ID verify. That way everybody's, you're doing business with a real person. But outside of that, we're really just not out there to compete with other people. We're just kind of over here in our own lane, doing our thing, We do have a lot of improvements that we have on the radar for the next couple months for it. We got it rolled out, but no, I really wanted to do this. We started talking about this project probably 14 months ago, 15 months ago, whatever, long while ago, because I was thinking of ways that I could help connect the show attendees with the vendors, and also help the vendors supplement their income in between shows, because we do have groups of vendors that do the shows every week. They're at a show. And then we have the guys they're breeding animals that are at shows every couple of months or whatever. And I just really wanted to help close that gap, because we have been getting those calls and emails and Facebook messages for years now. Like, hey, I was at the show and so, this guy, they had this animal I wanted to get. Well, now they can hop on the website and buy that animal from that vendor. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. There are a lot of really neat features that we are working into building into it. There's a lot of updates coming to the show side of it too. I know we're working on the calendar, and the bulk buy option should be out this week for everybody to use, and we're going to be working on building an interactive table layout, table map. So yeah, there's just a lot of neat things that we're doing, and we are using that site to market more towards the beginning reptile keepers. Obviously anybody can use it, just like the shows. Whether it's your first show or your 1000th show, you're always welcome to come out. But I don't know. We'll just see where it goes and see what the people want us to do with it.
Yeah, and I think you can't overstress enough. Mickey mentioned that even the buyers are
That's
going to
right.
have to be even the buyers will have to be verified on there, meaning that yes, you can go on and you can browse right now without an account and you can look at animals for sale, but you will not be able to reach out and purchase an animal from somebody on that site unless you go through the verification process. So, as a vendor, as somebody trying to sell on there, this is going to eliminate, number one, the chance that people are going to jump on and try to scam and just message and try to do that, because they will have to put in their information, verify their ID, and put in a credit card in order to try to purchase from you. So it should eliminate a lot of the tire kickers and the scam options that happen sometimes online, because if you're out there selling anything, that's going to come up to you monthly or weekly that's going to happen.
Well, something that I like about it too is we're getting ready to add the exotic animal section on there. We're really trying to tie everybody together, because all of us like all animals, and I'm trying to do something that's inclusive for everybody, So, because really all exotic animal keepers really do need to stick together, like bird people that keep bunnies and stuff like that. Yeah, but we all do have to kind of work together, because
you don't have to like the birds to appreciate the bird people, Scott.
Not liking those birds.
Cuckoo.
Just don't trust them, man. There's something about them.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, there's the aquatic side, the plants, the supplies, and we even have a section on Marketplace for artwork. So people that are doing photography, painting, sculpting, jewelry, harnesses, and any of the things that fit in terms of artwork related to the community will be able to be on there as well.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of bringing it back, I think it's one of the coolest things about it is that it is interconnected with our shows. So I feel like people that are generally buying reptiles online are people that are already keepers. You kind of already know what you're buying. So when you have the shows, those are some people's first interactions with specific animals. So it's probably not a good idea for them to buy the animal at the show that day. But they can meet the breeders, they can meet, these people that produce these animals and work with them daily, get a bunch of information from them, and then get a good path on what to set up, what tank to buy, what lighting to buy, all that stuff. Get ready, get their card, and then go find them online or the animal when they're ready. Because it may be another 6 months before we bring a show back to the location. Or that vendor might be from out of town or what have you. Those connections are what it's all about when we have the shows. You can't go out and meet the animal, meet the breeder, have those connections, those experiences over the internet. It just doesn't happen. So to have those two things like linked together is just phenomenal.
And there's so much room for growth. We've said that multiple times. There's so much room for growth to reach out. So the more platforms that are out there and available, the more people that can be touched, the more individuals such as Micky that are actually pushing and promoting it, which all that does is ignites the fire somewhere. And people would be naive to think that when one platform's growing, that those same buyers aren't going to start flowing in the water as the circle turns, just like Micky was saying earlier. There's so
well, here's the fun part. Here's the fun part that I did with Marketplace, and I've gotten a lot of this. Well, you're competing with Morph Market. What a lot of people don't realize is a seller can put their Morph Market link on their Marketplace store. I don't even care. Like, why? Why would I care? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think that as a community, we kind of stunt our own growth by being dicks, and there's really no reason for being a dick.
Yeah,
I was thinking about this earlier.
And if you don't want to use it, nobody's saying that you have to. It's just another avenue. And if you're smart, you don't paint yourself in one corner. So spread your wings a little bit and, do what you do. But I didn't know that, Micky. That's interesting that you're totally, that doesn't bother you. That's pretty cool, dude.
No, and it's
Yeah.
like with show vendors, like it's never bothered me. Like when vendors vend other shows, like I've never been the show promoter. It's like, oh, if you go vend that show, you can't come back here. Like I don't care where you vend, as long as you're at my show. Whenever you tell me you're going to be at my show, like go do your thing. Like I just don't understand why there's so much tribalism and people have to create competition and problems. Like it's just inconducive to what I'm trying to do.
I think that that happens because a lot of people go out and they're throw netting, so to speak. And they're trying to scoop up a whole school of fish or whatever, and they want to hold that whole school right here. And that's a really closed-minded way of doing it, but that's what I feel happens. They just don't want the competition.
There's no competition, Steve. We have a pie this big right now. That pie's this big,
right?
People like me are out here trying to make the pie like big, so everybody can eat. We don't have to fight over this.
No.
We can make a big pie.
Yeah, if we try to limit everybody's avenues, we cut out Morph Market because we don't want to interconnect with them. We shun, another promoter. If someone goes to another reptile show and has a great time, has a great experience for their first reptile show, awesome. They're probably going to go to more reptile shows. They're probably going to get on Morph Market, on Show Me Marketplace, on all these other avenues. They're going to get into the hobby. So if we just shit on everybody else's everything, it does nobody any good. We're all just lighting fires and burning our own houses down.
Yeah. And I said it.
Yeah, exactly.
I said it in the beginning about Micky. He's never wronged me. I don't have to follow a crowd if somebody's got something negative to say. I've been around Micky multiple times. If it was going to be something different, I should be able to read it or whatever. So I don't judge people off of what someone else says. And in the same token, I don't have a problem with Darian. He's a different person, but he's not really a bad guy. He went a little crazy on social media, but he too is a family man. I've met his wife and his kids, and there's just so much room. And I hate to sound cliche, but I mean, bar check. Just be kind. Just be kind.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
That's a much better way of saying it. That's a Brian way of saying it. And we're like, don't be a dick. It's the same thing though, man. Just be kind. Just be kind to somebody.
Yeah, be kind to the new keeper.
And you don't have to be kind.
Yeah,
you don't have to just be kind to someone that's standing in front of your table either.
No.
You really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something really cool at the Blue Springs show. We had a vendor that was coming out. It was their first time hitting up to our Blue Springs show. They'd never been there before, so they don't have an established customer base or anything. So another vendor that's been there all the time says, hey, you buy an animal from him, I'm going to hook you up with some free feeders. Like, just for supporting this guy, his first time out here, that's awesome. Come see me with your animal. I'll get you free feeders. Your first week of food's on me. It's just those interconnections, that community is what this is all about. We don't need to be trying to take, every nickel and dime out of each other's pockets. Work together and everybody wins.
So I was going around that show, Scott, and I brought some of my camera gear, and I unfortunately didn't have a whole lot of time to stick around the whole time, but I have to come, dude. I love that show. I love the vendors there are family. A lot of them are like family now. We talk outside of the reptile stuff. Good people. And there's good people at all shows. That's not what I'm getting at. But there was this little boy, and he was 7 years old, and I'd never met mom and dad or this little boy or whatever. And I was trying to scurry around and show some stuff or whatever and get in as much as I could before it was time for me to bounce out because I had to leave town. But he come up to me, and by no means am I famous, guys. Get out of here. Whoever thinks something, I am a little ugly leprechaun.
You're famous, Steve. Shut up.
But this little boy, he come up to me, and I had been talking to his dad, and his dad introduced him to me. He's like, "Hey, this is Thomas. Thomas, you really need to meet this guy." So I kneeled down next to him, and I'm like, "What's up, buddy?" Because I love the kids, dude. I love the kids. We do ARIA grab bags where we go around and just give stuff out. I've given out like $4,000 worth of stuff just to the little kids, just to have fun. But anyways, this little boy, he goes, "When I grow up, I want to be a famous YouTuber." And I was like, "I do too, buddy." And so I asked his dad, I was like, "Hey, what do you think about me and him doing a little cut? Would you be all right with me?" Because, the best thing to do is to make sure you don't record content of a child without permission. So I always respect the parents, and nobody's ever said no. They're always really flattered. And he's like, "Oh, that would be awesome. Would you do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do something." And so we did a little take or whatever, and I wandered around for another 30 minutes, and I come back around, and mom and dad were still talking to this vendor about an animal. And the little boy's kind of going stir crazy or whatever, and I had my camera out, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you show me how you do content?" So I gave him my camera, and he went around recording. And I mean, we didn't get anything, but that's not even the point, guys. His parents have messaged me the last 2 days thanking me for something that really I didn't even go out of my way. I just wasn't going to be a dick to this little kid. Especially if someone is looking up to you, man, be something for them to look up to, dude. That blows me away with sports stars that are like, "I didn't ask to be a role model." Well, it's a good damn thing. It's a good thing. I guess you're winning then. Dude, you make so much money, you should be happy. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, but you made me think about it. Because remember, you brought a shitload of candy to our October Blue Spring show. Next year, if you do it, don't bring Skittles. I was vacuuming Skittles out of that carpet for like 3 hours after that show.
So
I appreciate the sentiment, but Skittles are a no-go.
Here's the thing.
No ring pops either.
Here's the thing. The candy has gone away. It caused issues during transport and stuff. So you don't have to worry about that. But I apologize, dude. Why didn't you jump my shit sooner? Thank you for waiting.
It's no big deal. You were doing something nice,
Dude,
so I don't want to jump your ass about it.
For doing
But
it on here. I'm just playing. No, it's all good, dude. I apologize. I don't want to do that stuff because I've stuck around after the shows. I haven't done it in a while, but I've stuck around after the shows and helped clean up the Blue Spring shows and put up the tables and all that stuff. And I know that the crew has to vacuum and get that stuff done, or there's an extra charge. So if there's anything like that, guys, don't hesitate to let me know immediately because I'm not trying to do all of that noise. That's just too much. It's too much at the end of the day. So, but yeah. I had to take it away.
You're all good, man. You were doing something nice for the kiddos.
Melted stuff, no more jellies or anything like that. It cannot melt in any way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Steve, it's really awesome that you joined us here tonight, but we're going to have to get ready to wrap this thing up. Yeah. We've got a coordinator meeting after this. We've been working really hard to figure out how to make the shows better and create a better environment for everybody at the shows. So
I love it.
Coordinator meeting.
Thank you so
much. Starting the Don't Be a Dick coordinator meeting.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, the
guys.
Don't Be a Dick coordinator meeting.
Anything that you guys need from me over here in ARIA, you all have my handle. You can get a hold of me.
See you, Steve.
All right, guys. Don't be a dick. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. All right. So